The new film, The Monkey, just came out, directed by Osgood Perkins. Osgood Perkins is just freshly coming off of Longlegs. That just came out like June of last year, I'm pretty sure. I saw that in theaters and I loved it. I really loved how much it like committed to the bit and how much it like indulged. It really committed to everything that genre calls for, as far as like the murder mystery slash serial killer movie slash horror movie, something along the lines of like Seven or Silence of the Lambs. That's a big one that the film was really getting compared to. But that film really got bad reviews because it kind of comes off as this like self-serious or like elevated horror film that's kind of taking itself too seriously. That's kind of the backlash of films that try to be good. They say that as if it's a bad thing sometimes, and it's really weird reading other people's reviews. It's part of the reason why I'm doing this is because I feel like bashing anything for trying to do something is a little weird. Maybe I'm just speaking as someone who just loved the movie. I'm just trying to defend it, but I don't know. I just don't. Whenever I see bad reviews to movies I really liked, I kind of look at it a little sideways. But Nicolas Cage did really great. I think crazy makeup, and he has some very intense, weird scenes. But The Monkey is the follow-up to Longlegs, and Osgood Perkins is about to come out with another film. I saw online that the trailer to his next film was on the end credits of this film, and I didn't know. I had zero idea. This is going to be like 3 films in about 18 months for Osgood Perkins. So far, he's 2 for 2 for me. The film stars Theo James playing twins, and when I first heard that, I was kind of iffy about it because there's so many movies coming out this year that are starring twins, and it's really weird, and I don't know exactly what's going on. This is all going to be spoilers and stuff. So you're watching a reaction. This is kind of like a reaction or a review, but this is going to involve spoilers because I'm talking about the movie. But Theo James is someone who I've never really seen anything he's in. He is coming from like the young adult sci-fi Divergent franchise. I think he is having a similar arc to Robert Pattinson, or at least he's at the start of an arc where he's really turning himself away from that like image and taking on roles that are more adultish and more experimental. I'm not saying like Theo James is going to be a huge star soon or that he is a huge star now. I feel like coming off of that Netflix show, The Gentleman, and this, I feel like there's similar choices, like Robert Pattinson choosing to do like Cosmopolis and Good Time. I don't really know anything about Theo James, but Robert Pattinson made it kind of clear that he wanted to intentionally go against the grain on the Twilight image. But it would be cool to see Theo James go on a run like Robert Pattinson. Throughout the film, one thing I did enjoy is the narration, but his voice was really good. His vocal performance was like really good in this film. I don't know what kind of accent he was doing, but unless that's just the way he naturally talks, like I said, I haven't really seen him in anything. The whole twin thing, as far as a performance, isn't really in the film. It's really all over the phone, so there's no like corny shots that you see in twin movies where it looks like this, and there's plenty there. It tries to be like experimental, like it's a new thing we haven't seen before. I'm not saying that that's not cool, but I think that Eddie Murphy deserves an Oscar for The Clumps because that shit is insane to me. I really loved the opening credits and like the title design in this film with like the red and blue text and the font that they used for like the title card. Using that for the whole opening credits was really cool. I did a little research and I couldn't find the exact artist that came up with the design, but it did come from this company called Filmograph. They're like they're like a design and production studio out of LA. They do a lot of cool work, like on a lot of big projects. And I had no idea they did the title cards for Get Out. It was kind of like a tip of the cap to The Shining as well. So I just thought it was great. The opening scene, it has Adam Scott in it, who's in Severance, which I'm not a fan of the second season, and I've only watched the first 2 episodes of the second season, but the first season was perfect. Didn't love the ending, but the second season I just feel like is kind of just stretching out the story as much as it can, just trying to get people to watch, and it's just not my I don't feel like I'd rather just wait for the whole thing to come out and then I'll watch it in full. But I loved the first season, and Adam Scott is amazing in it. It's a great opening scene and definitely establishes like a tone and an atmosphere for the rest of the film, because it's very dark humor, and it's very violent, very bloody. For me, I don't know if it's me, but I didn't think that it was that bad. There were definitely parts of the movie where I vocally like reacted in the theater that I'm surprised no one else did. I don't know. I felt super self-conscious when I did it, but it's just like involuntary. I don't know what it was, but that opening scene definitely sets the tone for the next 90 minutes. A great horror movie is always 90 minutes, no more than an hour 45. After 2 hours, I feel like you're just trying to make a masterpiece or something, but like under 2 hours is a good horror movie. But if you don't mind, in this video I am going to be describing, kind of not in full like precise detail of the kills, but just enough to like make you feel what I felt in the theater. So if you have like a great imagination and you can't do like bloody whatever, then this probably isn't the best video. So if it's like too gross, or if you don't like stuff like that spoiled, like if you're a psycho like me, I would just advise not watching the movie or this unless you don't mind hearing about it. Even though the kills are like really gruesome, it's also like super funny. Like, I don't know, it sounds so crazy like saying this out loud and like putting it online. Like, I would in the theater, I was like vocally reacting to a lot of the kills. I was like, oh, what the fuck? Like, I was shook. The first one that really got me was when the main character, the character that Theo James plays but as a kid, which is who's played by Christian Convery, and he's fucking great. He has the most scenes where it's both. I would nominate him, one of my favorite supporting actor performances of the year so far is this fucking kid right here, because he bodied the shit. I think that the scenes where it's the both of them going back and forth and him being like, you're a fucking dumbass, it's so funny. I was genuinely laughing in the theater, and I never do that. Like, for some reason now, and especially in modern movies, it's really hard to get a laugh out of me, because I just feel like a lot of movies just aren't that funny now. But this is the first movie in a very long time where I was laughing out loud in the theater, but also in different scenes I was just repulsed by some of the visuals. Back to what I was saying about them as brothers, he has a bowling ball and he drops it on his brother's face, but it's like a fantasy, but they show it and it's fucking insane. And I mean, but it's so like subtle, and it's not that violent, but it's so quiet, and that's what makes it more unsettling, is that because it's at night and it's while he's sleeping like on his back, and it's so crazy to even think about. But the film also stars Tatiana Maslany, who I recognize from the She-Hulk show. That was the show that made me fully be cemented on the idea that the MCU is like done. Like, I kind of give up on them, even though I haven't. That was the show where I was like, oh, it's wraps. Like, no one likes the MCU. Like, it's done. And Tatiana Maslany, I feel like, is just kind of the face of that now, but I don't like blame her or anything. Like, I don't like not like her because of that, but it's more of, I kind of can't see that anymore, like when I see her in stuff now. But I think she's great. She was great in this movie. I think she was also super fucking hilarious. Like, she had a kind of a monologue after a funeral with her sons, because she plays Theo James's, who's the character? Hal Shelburne. That's who the main character is. And his twin brother, Bill, is kind of like lost his mind because of the monkey. And the monkey, I think I should fucking start videos by saying what the movie's about. Smart thing, I'm like halfway through recording this, but I think it'd be good to start telling you what the movie's about. So here we go. So the monkey, I got it right here. The Monkey, directed by Osgood Perkins, is a horror comedy film based on Stephen King's 1980 short story. The plot centers on twin brothers Hal and Bill Shelburne, both portrayed by Theo James, and as children by that dude I was talking about. What's his name? Christian Convery? Who as children discover their father's old toy monkey in the attic. This seemingly innocent wind-up toy triggers a series of gruesome and inexplicable deaths whenever its symbols clash. It doesn't have symbols. And with this toy, each time you do the wind-up thing, it raises up its hand and it like twirls a drumstick and starts beating on a drum, and something bad happens to someone else and causes them to die of a fatal accident. As kids, as soon as they catch on that this item is like cursed, they try to get rid of it, and then it keeps on like coming back. And then so they get rid of it, and then eventually like throughout their life, they separate, and they don't really like keep in contact anymore. But then like the monkey like returns and someone winds it up, and then they catch on that someone's twisting the monkey, and then I'll stop it from there. I don't want to spoil the story too much because it is a good story. It is based off of the Stephen King novel. I'm not sure how true it stays to the short story because I haven't read it. I love the way it was directed. I love the emphasis on all the kills. I think it's cool horror filmmaking. I think it's good special effects. I loved it all. The monkey itself, like the actual toy, is really cool. When I was first seeing like the posters for this film, and like when I first heard about it, my mind immediately went to George Romero's Monkey Shines. For some reason, I thought he already like did this, and I thought it was going to be a remake of that, but it's something completely different from Stephen King. But I've literally only read like Cujo from Stephen King. I never even read it, but I've seen the movie and I feel like I don't need to watch it, or I feel like I don't need to read it. I also like really loved the marketing for this film. There was apparently there's going to be like screenings like in a church, and I think that's like super hardcore. I think that's like something that B movies would do in the 80s or some shit, is just like have random screenings just for like publicity, do stuff a little controversial just for marketing. I think that stuff is kind of cool, and it kind of supports the art of it in a weird way. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's a little punk rock to show a horror movie in a church, and I just love the whole aesthetic of that. But anyways, going back to I don't know what I was talking about last. All that being said, going back to the opening scene with Adam Scott in it, he's going into the pawn shop trying to sell off this monkey toy. It's a running bit throughout the film that you're not supposed to call it a toy. And as he's trying to sell off the toy to the clerk at the pawn shop, there's like a mannequin that's wearing an old submarine like suit that's holding a harpoon gun, and it like accidentally, like something slips and then it shoots off the arrow and it goes through the stomach of the clerk and hits like the first framed dollar bill behind him on the wall, and the string gets reeled back in and starts pulling out all of his like intestinal lining, and it's very fucked. And that's the opening scene. And I just don't know where to go from there, but I was laughing a lot at some of the fucked up moments though throughout the movie because they were really funny, and it was just kind of like, what the fuck is going on? It was all so like absurd, and it just felt like a fever dream. I did feel weird sometimes laughing because no one else laughed, and that really fucked me up in the theater. And I don't know if it's like is it like not acceptable anymore to like vocally react to movies anymore. I went to the AMC on 24th Street in Camelback, and it is a little bougie there, so it is like a little white there, so I don't know if that does anything, but if that's like not the vibe in theaters over there, but I don't know. I just feel like MCU has made it like a programming thing to where like it has a set time of like when to laugh and when to be sad and when to like react. And those moments where someone says a joke and there's like a pause edited in there, that's like space to laugh. It's very like weird to me when that happens. And this movie doesn't have that, but I was just laughing when I thought shit was funny, and no one else was like I heard dead silence almost the entire movie, unless there was a really gruesome kill like towards the end, like the climax of the movie. Other than that, I not a peep. And I don't know if that's like movie going culture now, but I just don't see funny movies that often, and the only time I hear audiences laugh at movies is when it's like a Marvel movie or like Deadpool and Wolverine, and it's just I don't know, it's very weird to me. But the trailer that's at the end of the credits of this movie is for his next film called Keeper, and that's also going to star Tatiana Maslany, and I'm pretty excited for it, especially after Longlegs and The Monkey back to back. It's another horror movie that'll be exciting to see, and I don't even know what it's about. I haven't even really looked into it yet. I just heard that there was a trailer at the end of the movie, and I didn't know about it before I saw it, so I kind of missed out. But this Sunday is the Oscars. So next week's video will probably be about my reactions to all the awards and who I thought should have won or whatever. And yeah, go ahead and subscribe, go in the comments if you've seen the movie. Let me know what you think. But let me know if you would want to watch this movie after hearing me talk about it. But go ahead and like the video and have a good day.